Have you ever woken up in the morning and your mind goes like, I need to do something, but you can't remember exactly what you can do or what you wanted to do? Or sometimes you just woke up with this dream and you're thinking about the dream and your mind is going like, what was it about? I had one of those interesting nights, and I think I've had almost 20 dreams in a night. And I wake up in the body and I'm thinking and I'm thinking and I'm thinking and I'm like, what were the dreams about? They were interesting. And I would love to know what I was dreaming about. But as I woke up this morning, it is a day that I'm trying to remember so hard, but I can't even remember a single thing. And then I was trying to ask myself, why should I get stressed out by the fact that I can't remember my dreams? Why could I not just move on and maybe trust God I'll be able to sleep again and probably dream? And maybe there was nothing necessary or necessarily nice about it. It was really good dreams, to be honest. I would have loved to remember them. And because I couldn't remember them, I have been sitting down and trying to reflect, and maybe then I can start beating myself up and fantasizing about those dreams. But then if I can't remember them and if I don't do anything about them, it's as good as though I never dreamed. And I think sometimes that's what happens in our lives. We kind of, in a way, I wake up a day and think like we are dreaming of something great. We are dreaming of doing something amazing. We are dreaming of good health. We are dreaming of healthy goals. And then we wake up out of the dream and kind of, in a way, forget about it and move on. And maybe at the back of our mind, something is reminding us, but Claire, we had this dream. What was the dream about? Maybe you were dreaming something that you really wanted it to become a reality. And it's at the back of your mind, but because it's a dream, like maybe you've forgotten about it, you won't do anything about it. And sometimes that's why they say dreams are valid. Dreams are legit. But if you don't do anything with your dream, is not point of dreaming if you just have a dream and do nothing about it. You need to do something for your dreams to become a reality. If you dream of having a healthy, healed body, you've got to do something about it so that you can have the healthy, healed body. And so today we have been on a journey that I've been trying to come along and just talk a little bit about setting healthy goals, because that will be maybe one of the catalysts or the starting point of your dream becoming, starting to work on your dream so that your dream can become a reality. And so if you're new here, my name is Claire, and I have the privilege and the opportunity and the awesome, wonderful, how to say, joy of being the founder of this channel. I am a registered nutritionist by God's grace. I strongly believe in us having healthy, healed bodies, because I believe that God desires that we will prosper and be in good health, even as our souls prosper. And hence why I come on this channel to talk about nutrition, talk about fitness, to talk about total wellness. So if you're new here, if this is the first time you're getting us or finding this channel, you're most welcome. Thank you that you could take time to click on this, maybe live at the moment, on in seasons, months, years, whatever centuries to come. I hope that you will be able to learn something new. I want to continue to thank those who continue to support what you're doing by liking, sharing, those who continue to subscribe. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And if you have not done so already, can I just be straightforward? Say there's a word. Can I just kindly request you, if you are able to and you haven't done so, why not just click on that like, share, or subscribe button? It will go a long way in supporting what you're doing on this channel. So let's go back onto the dreams. If your dream is to become more healthy, if your dream is to lead a more healthy lifestyle, if your dream is to have a healthy, healed body, you need to have a little bit of like a roadmap on how that can become a reality. And so I've been doing this series for a little while, and will continue for as long as I think it's necessary, so that we continue to learn together. If you've missed, there are videos that I will link in the description box that we've talked about how to set healthy, smart goals, how to kind of, in a way, scientifically proven ways to lose weight and things like that, and those will be a helpful way to start. Last week we did a deep dive, and I was just talking about how you can be able to kind of in a way have those goals, set those goals, initiate the process, and then you move on from that process into an actualization of the process. And so today we're going to be doing something building up on what we have been doing. And as we are building up, I just want to take that opportunity and take that moment to kind of take us one by one or step by step, break it down to rest. And we will focus today on only one thing. You know what? I've learned over this 1 year or so, I've been going through some training and some coaching and some kind of mentorship program. And this guy was telling us, if you've got 3 priorities at most, then that makes sense. But if you've got more than 3 priorities, you have no priority. And so he says to us as well, when you have 3 priorities, break it back into just one thing. What is that one needle moving action that you will do that will help you realize something that will benefit you in terms of your health, your wealth, and your relationship? And so I'm going to talk about just one thing today in this deep dive. The one thing that I'm going to talk about today is planning your meals, right? You want to lose weight. I said last week, begin by kind of in a way knowing what is your starting point. Weigh yourself. Know where do you want to end up. What's your end point? Your starting point is I'm 75 kilos. My end point is 65 kilos. I need to lose 10 kilos. And for me to lose 10 kilos, I will need to be able to lose it within 10 months or 6 months or 1 year. Then break it down into weekly goals. How much can you lose? And I've mentioned over and over again, it's not recommended to lose more than 500 grams a week, because that could actually be an indication of other underlying health problems. And so once you've broken it down, it goes back into, I always say, you can actually lose weight successfully by just looking after what you eat without necessarily exercising. But there are so many benefits of exercise, and that's why it's always the best thing for exercise and weight and nutrition to go hand in hand, right? I repeat that again. You can successfully lose weight and live a healthy life without necessarily exercising. But if you combine exercise with diet, that's the best combination, because not only are you able to lose weight in a way that you are kind of able to sustain for a long period of time, but also exercise is good for things like your mental well-being, mental clarity. You can also tone your body through exercise and things like that. And so today we're not talking about exercise. The place of exercise will come later on. Let's do things that you can easily do and things that you can easily amend and adjust in your daily eating, in your diet and things like that, that could already start moving you in the right direction. And so let's talk a little bit about your diet and how you can plan your meals. So let's just take a minute and reflect on just maybe today or yesterday. Let's go back into yesterday. So what did you eat for breakfast? Did you have a brunch? Did you have something in between breakfast and lunch? Between breakfast and lunch, did you have a snack? Then what did you eat for lunch? And then what did you eat between your lunch and your dinner or your tea, depending on what you call it, or your supper? Did you have some snacks in between? And if you're snacking, what were you snacking on? Were you snacking on fruits and vegetables, or were you snacking on crisps, etc., which are classified as ultra-processed foods? And I recently made just a short video on ultra-processed foods, which obviously have got an impact on our health. And so if you take your journey back into what you've eaten, knowing that an adult woman should eat maximum 2,000 calories, whereas an adult man should eat maximum 2,500 calories. And so if you're going to think about 2,000 calories, it might be worthwhile breaking it down into how do you want it to be. Obviously, if you eat 2,000 calories, you're not going to lose weight, because that's for maintenance, right? But if you want to lose weight or to gain weight, you would need to go over beyond your basal metabolic rate. But also, if you want to gain, and if you want to lose weight, you'll have to go below that. So let's assume that you are at 2000, no, you have 75 kilos and you want to eat 2000 calories. You can plan it and say, if I'm eating 2000 calories, probably you want to break it down into dividing them into, say, 500 calories will be for my breakfast, and then 750 calories will be for your lunch, and that means you'll have 1250 calories that you've eaten by lunchtime. Then that means you've got 750 calories that are remaining, and you can say maybe 500 calories will be for my dinner, and then 250 calories will be for your snacking, right? Hopefully that brings it to 2000 calories. I'll try to find a board next time so that I can work that out to show you what I mean. So if you go back into calculating that, so you have 500 calories in the morning. Maybe I've actually intentionally put lunch to be the biggest, so you have most of your calories over lunchtime, and then in the evening you have less calories. You can flip it as well around and decide and say, I'm going to have 1200 calories for my breakfast, and then I have 500 calories for my lunch. That brings it to something like 1700, and then maybe 300 for your dinner. It just depends on what you really want to do, and I'll talk about that a bit in a minute. Why? You must have heard where they say, eat your breakfast like a queen, banquet at breakfast. Because of course, if you are somebody who eats breakfast, that is the first meal that you're having, so you're kickstarting your metabolism, right? But also you have the whole day to begin to kind of digest all the food that you've eaten, rather than the other way around, where most of us start to eat a lot of the calories in the evening when we're going to bed. And so by the time you're making our way to bed, our bodies have not started to digest, our bodies have not started to break down, and so we're going to bed with full tummies, and that can actually overwork your digestive system as you're sleeping. And that's not a good thing, because obviously you want to try to allow your body to start breaking down the food that you've been eating before you start sleeping. And that's why it's sometimes recommended, if you want to, sometimes some countries cannot allow you to do that, but if you wanted to look at, for example, the last meal should be before it gets dark, and then you eat the next meal the moment it's bright outside. So you're kind of like after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. just telling yourself, I'm not eating anymore, because you're giving yourself time to start breaking down the food before you go to bed. So going back into, once you've broken down and said, my breakfast, I'll have this amount of calories, my lunch will be this amount of calories, my dinner will be this amount of calories, and then my snacks will be this amount of calories. So try to think of, again, when you're having breakfast, what is it that you want to have for your breakfast? You might want to have breakfast things like oats. Oats are really good because obviously they are full of fiber. They will fill you for longer, but they also have got beta glucans, which are known to have health benefits of reducing things like heart diseases, etc. And that will be something that can be really helpful. And you can do some things like overnight oats. Very easy to make. All that you need to do is soak your oats in water, or they say suggest using some things like lemon juice, and that lemon juice will have break down some of the anti-nutrients that are in oats. Leave it in the fridge overnight, and then the next morning you come back and you're like, there you go, I've got my oats. Just drain off that liquid, because you don't want to eat all those anti-nutrients that have leached into your liquid. And then you can, some people say, even wash them a little bit, and you're good to go. You can add them some fruits in there, and you have a really a nice, very healthy breakfast. You might also want to think about protein. It's good for building of your muscles and things like that. So you might want to think of, if you are on a normal diet, maybe having some things like eggs that are good, a glass of milk, that's also good for your calcium. It's so good for vitamin D. It's also good for your protein. If you're on a plant-based diet, that's where you might have things like your tofu. That's where you might have things like your beans, your legumes, etc., to kind of boost your protein intake, right? And then if you're having your lunch, starting to cut down a little bit. As you're cutting down on what you're eating over lunchtime, you're allowing yourself kind of in a way to start breaking it down a little bit. And you might want to have things like, say, for example, if you're eating your lunch, it might be understanding and helping yourself to realize, okay, what is it that I'll be able to eat that will be able to fill me up, but also not have too many calories. It could be some things like just salads, or it could be us starting off with the soup, and that will be really like you can adjust depending on what you want to do. You can look at it kind of in a way, you might go back to things like having your steak at that moment. If you love meat, you might want to have like chicken over lunchtime. You might want to have like potatoes as your side. For those of us who are like me, who love our ugali, you might want to eat ugali, but also remembering you need your side to have some vegetables, and then you might want to have some vegetables as well, and some meat or some protein. Let me just call it protein. And I can see some people online. I'm just talking and breaking down. Welcome so much. Good to have you viewing. I'm just talking a little bit about breaking down your meals as we're doing this deep dive into how you can be able to kind of ensure that you're eating a healthy meal throughout the day. And so once you eat your lunch, then in the evening, you think again about protein. Going back into lean protein might be better, and also trying to ensure that you have your carbohydrates, a little bit of your carbohydrate. And I'm going back to talking to every kind of meal that you have. Try to ensure that you have vegetables with it. Try to ensure that you have some fruits with it, because you need to have at least 5 portions of fruits and vegetables a day. And those 5 portions of fruits and vegetables are important because fruits and vegetables are good for ensuring that, of course, you can get your fiber. You can get fiber, which is good for your gut health, but also fruits and vegetables are really important because they contain what are called phytonutrients or phytochemicals, such as antioxidants, that will help the body to recover itself against things that can actually cause you diseases that are avoidable. Also, fruits and vegetables can have health healing properties, and that's why it's important to think about how can I space my fruits and vegetables so that I'm having at least 5 portions of fruits and vegetables throughout the day. And so when you're trying to, once you planted, calculating your calories that you need, sometimes you don't need even to do it old school. I'm old school. I always say that. I love my pen and paper. Just being able to have a pen and then being able to write things down helps me quite a lot. So I thrive a lot in just writing things down, in writing and reading. But if you find that it's much more difficult for you to do that, there are apps that you can use to do that. There are apps that you can, I say openly, I use my fitness pal, and you can actually use these apps, and you break down, and you can say, for my breakfast, I want to have 100 calories or 500 calories, and it will help you to do that. And so once you've done that, the next thing you need to do is you need to go for your shopping, right? When you're going to do your shopping, try to ask yourself, what am I buying as the key things? Because you want to go back into ensuring you're eating your oily fish, which is good for your heart health. And if you're on a vegan, vegetarian diet, thinking of how will you get those omega-3s and those unsaturated fats, which are good for your heart. You need to ensure that you also have protein. I've mentioned that a lot because protein, of course, is good. It's good for your building of your muscles, recovery of your muscles. If you're doing exercise, etc., plan to include protein and ensure that you have enough protein in your meals. The next thing to think about as well is talk about carbohydrates. Sometimes people do demonize carbohydrates and say carbohydrates are the thing that will make you big fat and things like that. It's true, because it's going to be the sugars that can easily be kept, but you don't need to stay away from carbohydrates. You just need to kind of be prudent about how you make your choices. You might decide and say, instead of having, let's say, normal bread, white bread, you can have wholemeal bread. So you're still having your carbohydrates, but you're having more complex carbohydrates that can be broken down and can also have that fiber and things like that can be helpful for your gut health. And that will help you to be able to have a healthy gut, to be able to have a thriving gut. And the gut is connected to many things in our bodies, which include our immune system and immune function, as well as mood, as well as cognitive behavior and things like that, etc. I won't go into details with that at the moment. So going back into just breaking that down, and then once you've broken it down, you know what you will be eating at the various meals. Prioritize your protein, prioritize your fruits and vegetables. If you have a plate, always ensure that the biggest component of your bread, or biggest part of bread of your plate, is actually, let's say, fruits and vegetables, those fruits that are low in calories, and then fill up with other things as well, protein as well, and just ensuring that you know exactly what you're eating and how it's going to be beneficial. I want to bring this to an end so that I don't make this so long recording. But what I'm going to do is next week when I come back, I'll do like a daily intake, and I will do like what I ate in a day, break it down for you, and just give an example of how my daily intake of food looks like, and maybe that could help some of you to be able to have a starting point. I haven't touched at all on how you space your eating, which is something, again, I'll come back and talk about that, because it's nice to space your eating, and I'll talk a bit about why it is necessary and why it's important to space your eating. So I want to bring this to an end. As I said, if you haven't done so, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing to our channel. That will be really helpful. But until next time, I hope that you know that you're loved, you're appreciated, and celebrated. I pray you have a great day. You know that I pray that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your souls prosper. And as I usually say, your prosperity of your soul is so important, because you can eat your fruits and vegetables, you can drink your water, you can eat healthy, but if you're not healthy in your heart, if you're not healthy in your mind, you're not healthy at all. So I usually say the best thing to do is always remember and consider having that healthy heart, which could be things like forgiving, which could be things like releasing, which could be things like having that personal relationship with your maker that makes a whole difference. Until next weekend, when I come back again with the next installment, talk about this deep dive. Have a great weekend, and talk to you soon.